Okay.
Okay. Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome everyone to another session of VOTP. Just for the new people, little intro on VOTP. VOTP stands for Voice of the People. And as it suggests, it's to make each and every one of us to understand the important responsibility we have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, use our voice for the right causes. So at VOTP, our goal is to empower each and every one of us, develop the capability, fill in the gaps, and empower us to use our voice both to demand accountability from ourselves as well as, from the leaders at large. And today, as a part of increasing the awareness of what's going on in the world around us, we have this topic which is chosen. And the topic is Sudan, another humanitarian catastrophe. So, inshallah, we will go ahead and get started. Now, the objective of this presentation is to, focus our attention and learn more about what's going on in Sudan. Subhanallah, what's going on in Gaza right now is so much on our screens. And Alhamdulillah, we have become quite aware of what are the underlying reasons and of the conflict going on in Gaza and what we should be, doing. And inshallah, it has woken up the Muslims. And today we want to look at Sudan and understand what is going on there. Again, the reason being we want to be very, very aware of what is going on, who are the players, what is at stake. So that, inshallah, we'll try to cover that. The second thing is to understand the impact of, lack of leadership and lack of, being strategically at a place where we're able to prevent such catastrophes. So we're going to look at, the cost of this. And, thirdly, Sudan actually is a case study of how the other Muslim countries are suffering as well. And we want to kind of get to the bottom of who are the players, responsible for this, what can we do to, prevent this. So inshallah, these are our three objectives and, Bismillah, we'll try to accomplish this in this session. So just a little, again, why are we talking about Sudan? So this is another humanitarian catastrophe which has been going on. The Sudan, in Sudan, at least 10 million people are on the move. They are, displaced from their homes. People are crossing the borders, and a lot of refugees are, being created in the neighboring countries. Famine is a very, very big issue, and a lot of violence, especially towards women and children. Subhanallah, women and children, being the vulnerable of the population, get, caught up and face the brunt of these catastrophes. And there's a lot of sexual violence and forced recruitment, a lot of atrocities going on. So this is a brief of why we are looking at this topic today. Now, just a little reminder for myself, and for our audience of where Sudan is and its location. And it is, as you can see on the map here, it is in Africa, and you see it's very, very close to the Red Sea. And then you see the Arabian Peninsula right across the Red Sea. And this plays a very, very important role in what's going on in Sudan. So, as we all know, we do have Israel, located there, and the agenda of the United States and Britain to establish Israel in the area in the Middle East. So Sudan is right there. So it's the third largest country. It has its deserts in the northern area, and then a lot of swamps and fertile areas in the southern part. And it's Muslim. The northern part is mainly the Muslim population, but in the southern part of Sudan, we have the Christian population as well. So a little idea there. If you want to look at the little bit more detail of the neighboring countries, there we have Egypt in the north, Libya, and Chad in the the east. Then we have the west, and then we have the Central African Republic, Congo, on the southern area, Uganda, Kenya, and Ethiopia. And then you have the Red Sea, and across the Red Sea is, Saudi Arabia and UAE, all of those. Now, 48 million is the population, and out of that, we told that 10 million is out of their homes and is disrupted from from their location of inhabitancy. So that's 25%. 25%. And, Sudan is, split in 2011. Sudan was split into the Republic of Sudan and also the South Sudan. And as I mentioned earlier, in South Sudan, we have more of Christian population, and North Sudan, it is the lot of the Muslims, Arab Muslims. Now, the two main, so basically, in a nutshell, there's a conflict going on between two, they call warlords or two military personnel. And, one of them is, Hemedi, and the other name is Mohammed Burhan. Okay, so these two names you want to know, Hemedi and Burhan. And we will, discuss about how they came into, what is this war all, going on. So let me kind of start you with a little bit of a history background. So this actually, Sudan was formed in 1956, right? So it got its independence January 1st, 1956. It was ruled by the Egyptian and the British Empire prior to that. And even when Sudan was formed, they just kind of made this big country, as you just saw in the map before. It was really not, in a sense, thought out. It just was a group of people, Arabs in the north and the Christians in the south. All of them were put together without any particular, distinction of ethnicity or even the identity. So that was kind of how Britain just made this, and that's kind of what we see with most of the countries which were made when the nations were where the lines were drawn to create those nations. So that is one issue to even to begin with as well. And after that, Sudan was ruled by Omar Bashir. Okay, this is on the name. So just three names if you want to remember: Omar Bashir. Then we have Hemedi, as well as we have Burhan. Okay, so Omar Bashir, was ruling Sudan, and in 1997, yes, Bill Clinton, he kind of put sanctions on the government run by Bashir, and the reason being that Bashir was creating a lot of progress and also creating a lot of weapon manufacturing industries within Sudan. And these were, crossing the border of Sudan and, getting into the, hands of the militias and the people in Middle East. And Israel did not want this to happen. So they kind of went ahead and put severe economic sanctions on the, on the government of Mohammed Bashir. So that is one thing. And the second thing was that, the people of Sudan, were Muslims, and they believed in that Quran must be the constitution, or just like how Pakistan was formed and just like any other Muslim country that's formed. So they believed that they wanted the constitution to be the Quran, and this was something which the US and the Zionists did not want. They instead wanted a country which is very secular. The people they're okay with people, praying and doing their salah and their rituals, at home in the masajid, but they did not want the Islamic, the deen, the practices, the legal system, the riba-free financial system to be a part of the country. So this has always been the objective of the United States as well as the Zionists, that this does not happen. And in Sudan, under the the government of Bashir, there was a riba-free financial system, and also there was this, the Quran, was the important, played a very important role in the constitution. So the objective of the Zionists was to change this, country into a secular country, as well as a country, who is pro-Israel, and so that Israel can feel safe in this area. Subhanallah, it also comes back to, Israel, whether we're talking about Gaza, whether we're talking about, Sudan. I was amazed at how much of it is again linked back to the same ideology of Israel. And Sudan Bashir was also very, they were against, now settling of Israel, and the normalization of Israel was, they were totally against it. So this was this kind of backdrop of, the President Bashir, who was, in the later part of the 20th century and the early part of the 21st century. So United States under Bill Clinton in 1997 put severe economic sanctions, and to a point that the people became so very frustrated. There was lack of money and a lot of financial difficulty, and the people actually revolted against their own the Prime Minister Bashir. And the general of the army at that time was Burhan, Muhammad Burhan. So that's how, and then Burhan, has led the country since then, and he is actually now the leader of this Sudanese, armed forces. One more point to remember is that at the time of Muhammad Bashir, they were in the map. You can see Chad and Libya, on the right side of Sudan. There were invasions, or from there, and so Bashir actually helped this Hamidi, become develop this force called the Rapid Support Force to help them, fight off the enemies, or the invaders coming from Libya and Chad. So that's how it got started. And so these are three names. Bashir, who was, in the beginning, ruled for many years, and people finally took him out because of his severe economic sanctions, which were there in his country, which were laid by United States for their own agendas. And who's this, our Burhan, Muhammad Burhan was the one who was the general army, and he did a coup and took down Bashir. Now, Hamidi is now, kind of, Hamidi had a small, group of people and army, and this was then supported by UAE. So this is another player which is going coming, United Arab Emirates, UAE, and they getting weapons, they're getting a lot of training from UAE, and they are becoming bigger and bigger and more and more and more stronger. So United States, we always keeps talking about, democracy, and so they made this interim government led by the army chief, Burhan, and the United States supported a lot of political parties who are of the secular and of the secular and the liberal side, who are, okay or not okay, and even agreeing to the United States agenda, which means the secular constitution, interest-based banking, and allowing Israel to settle down in the Middle East without any threat, and and normalization. So that is what they support those political parties. So yeah, so that's kind of the story which is going on, and so now, what is UAE doing there? So that's one question, which we need to ask, and we will get to that. Before that, I just wanted to also mention that the South Sudan in 2011, it's got separated from they had a military person in South Sudan, and they're fighting, and finally South Sudan was formed in 2011. So South Sudan is not a part of the Sudan. There, Khartoum here in the map, if you see, is the capital, and then in the north area as well, this is where Hamidi is gaining power, and the United States and UAE, they found that though Burhan is leading the Sudanese army government, their ideology, that government, that military, so not government, that military is still very, very Islamic. It's too Islamic for them, and they want Burhan's army to be taken down. They want to dismantle that army and replace it with another army. And guess whose army they want? They want Hemiti's army, because Hemiti's army is completely pro-US, pro-Zionist army. Hemidi, you know, they all plotted, and Hemidi and his men, they wanted to take down Burhan, but Burhan escaped. And this fight now is going on between these two people, the Hemidi and Burhan. So yeah, any questions? I know it's a long story. Any questions in this? And next we will discuss about what is UAE doing in all this. Why UAE is supporting Hemidi. Any questions? Is that clear? The three characters.
Yeah, it's clear, Sister Farhana. Why has the USA allowed Mohammed Burhan, did you say, Mohammed Burhan, to continue for so long? Why did they allow it? Now they're not against it. They're supporting Hamidi.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, initially they wanted to get rid of the Bashir. So that's why they brought in the interim government with Burhan.
Right.
And in the interim government, Burhan was supposed to, for 2 years. That initial thing was 2 years. Burhan was supposed to lead it till the, democracy, will be formed. And the democracy and the US is also putting all the players. US always wants to come with the picture that we are bringing in democracy into this
Mm.
area, and they're all empowering the leftist, political leaders, to come in power. Um, uh, and but what they found was that the Burhan was still too Islamic.
Mm.
And the army and the military whom he is, whom is leading, is also very Islamic. And they also found that they also understood that the people of Sudan, if the elections were going to be held, they are going to bring in either President Bashir's party back, or under Islamist groups. So the people there are very, very, you see the power of people. The people there are still very, very Islamic. They want Islamic constitution, Quran to be upheld in the constitution. They want riba-free banking,
Mm.
Um, so that's why they are still prolonging. So no elections, they're letting, Burhan do lead the thing, but then they want to dismantle that entire army and bring Hemiti's army, who is much more pro-Zionist and pro-US.
Yeah.
So that is kind of, yeah, what
Yeah.
the
Then they'll
difference.
have that thing that we've got democracy because
Yes.
that's what they
Yeah.
do every time. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
So that is kind of the, agenda. And this will resonate in many other countries.
Yeah.
As Sister Farhana said, the whole objective, this is like a case study. This is the objective of the US, and this is how they do it. Get those leftist, secular political parties empowered in one end, and if they need, they use the military to overthrow, not rightist, but more Islamic governments. And now even Burhan is not pro-US enough. So that's why they want to get Hemiti in. And UAE is playing a very, very important role. So let's now go on to what is the role of UAE. So this is just yeah. So the revolution, yeah, in 2018, which was to throw the government Bashir. Okay, which we already discussed. Now the role of UAE, very, very important. I mean, subhanallah, you would think, okay, it's Israel is playing an important role. Okay, US is playing. Okay, we know this. That's a textbook version of what they are doing all over the world, right? But then UAE comes in, and that kind of raises my curiosity. What is UAE doing here?
Mm.
So UAE, so UAE is playing a very, very important role in strengthening the giving weapons and training to Hemedi, and the Hemedi is a general who started with a very small group, and now has a very, very large group. So what is UAE worried about? So the leaders of the UAE, they are worried that, they are worried about their chair. They are worried about their position. They are worried about, losing their monarchy. They are worried about losing their, hold on the country. That is the main worry. So,
Mm.
and this since the Arab Springs, they are worried because they saw in Arab Springs people revolted. People got together, they had the power, and they revolted against the leaders. So UAE is very, very scared. UAE doesn't want the people of UAE to overthrow them. So that is one of their biggest agenda. And so they sell them, and they want to keep themselves in power. They need the United States support, and they sell themselves to United States, saying, we are not saying, in fact, being pro normalization of Israel, and they clearly actually state and even promote that they are very, very secular, and they also sell to the United States that we are developing, just like we have developed our country itself as a very secular government, as a secular people. We are in fact working on changing the mindset of the people in UAE. And in the past, the Muslims, their focus was Islam was a priority, freedom and dignity was a priority. But now we are changing their mindset to, economic growth and economic development and economic luxuries. That's kind of what we are helping change the mindset. So and Washington loves that. Washington, again, as we mentioned, wants secular, non-Islamic, pro-Israel, pro-Zionist, right? So that's how UAE is positioning themselves. And the location of UAE, we saw the Red Sea, it's just across. Sudan is across. So UAE also wants to change the mindset of not only its people, which it has done, with some success, I would say. It's also, wanting to change the mindset of Sudan's people as well, and that's helping Hemedi, who is of that secular mindset. So that is, and so that, what UAE is worried is if Sudan's people overthrow, its non-Islamic government, then the people across the shore are going to, get inspired that, even the UAE people can get inspired and throw the kings down, right? So that is kind of their agenda in this, and also obtaining the favors of United States and protection and their safety and all of that. So so the UAE, the Rapid Support Forces, the Hemedis, army, what's called. So they are, weapons shipments and 30 flights per week, delivering arms and weapons have been documented. And the UAE, so the UAE wants two things. Either they want Hemeti to kind of get rid of Burhan's army is still in power. Get rid of Burhan's army. If it can't do that, at least kind of split this Sudan again further and take over the eastern side of Sudan, so that Sudan will become weak. So that's kind of their ultimate objectives. And the UAE keeps convincing the leftist party, and they seem to that. So initially, the transition period was only supposed to be 2 years, and after that, they were supposed to have elections, be in a democratic place. But they realized that the Sudanese people are very, very pro-Islamic government. They would choose Islamic government, so they're kind of delaying that as well and buying in time to change the mindset and mindset as well. Yes, so this is where UAE. So yeah, it's not really located across the Red Sea, but they still think they can be. I mean, the people of UAE can be affected by the mindset of the Sudanese people. Just like the Arab Springs. So the nutshell, the leaders of the UAE are worried about their throne. Some geopolitical goals. So, they don't want Sudan to become the place where, Islamic ideas and, Islamic strength, comes. And and then again, they want to be a partners with Washington. All right. Now, so again, why do we, picked up Sudan, and, as Sister Farhana mentioned, even the promo, this is a pattern. This is a pattern which is, noted in other countries, in Libya, all the other Muslim countries, in Iraq, whenever there are leaders who are, pro-Islamic, keeping Quran in the constitution, interest-free banking, anti-Zionism, then those leaders, have to go. So that's kind of the big pattern, which we notice everywhere, like all across the Muslim world. And then you also realize in the Sudan, the entire planning and the foreign policy department of the United States, of course, the UAE leaders, all of them sitting and planning, and the Zionists, of course, planning of how to, change this. And you also see the depth at which they're going to change. They also want to change the mindset of the people to a point where they do work in the morning and then enjoy luxury in the evening, the kind of what is happening in UAE. And they use these proxies, which we saw. Like they use leaders like Hemedi, and then the left political party leaders who want to come up and for their own agendas. They use them, they empower them to fight against the ones who are who are more Islamic. And so that's kind of where Sudan is, and it's a case study for what's going on underneath the surface. So on the face, it looks like these two generals are fighting against each other just for throne, but no, this whole lot of deep politics going on underneath, and the big players, UAE, US, and the Zionists. So some countries, where many destabilization of many Muslim countries has been by external powers. You see that in Iraq, multiple US-led invasions, prolonged conflict, instability, Palestine, which we know very well, Libya. US again intervened in 2011, again created a lot of prolonged civil war, and regional destabilization. In Afghanistan, we saw that. Syria, again, US presence. We saw Yemen. And again, you also see that sanctions, United States sanctions, just like 30 years, Sudan had to have economic sanctions. US used economic sanctions as a tool. So, again, what is the way forward? What can the Sudanese people do? Definitely, it's the demand of the Sudanese people, if they can, hold on and persist in this, and hold on the Islamic grounds. Inshallah, they will come leaders from within them who can get rid of this political drama which is going on. Again, the Sudanese must again be empowered, educated, most importantly, standing firm on the Islamic principles, believing in the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and create leaders, work their way, through the economic difficulties which they're facing. So they really, have to come on here. I think where we can, support as Muslims, charity is probably the least important thing, but they're suffering from famine at this time. So they're even struggling for the basic necessities at this time, but we can help them in that. And inshallah, if other Muslim countries, step up and support them, that will be the best thing which the people can do. Subhanallah. So her call to action, first of all, we have to know what is going on. We have to understand the root causes, why this is happening, who are the important players on this chessboard, and how we can start becoming powerful ourselves, make our countries, powerful, demand accountability from our governments, and then, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is most important, as well as, advocate for justice. United Nations, US, it kind of, talks about the injustices in Ukraine. It talks about, all the oppression in other places, but on the matter of Sudan, they are very quiet because, they are the ones, behind the scenes causing that, and they are okay with the amount of, oppression and catastrophe, the human catastrophe there. So we need to call people out, and that's one of our job as a VOTP member. I think that's pretty much it. Please ask me any questions on what it is, and and then let's open the floor for what can we do. What can we do to make these things better, and how to we develop, inshallah, the upcoming youth to be aware of what's going on and see the things behind the screens, inshallah.
Sister Farhana, there's a question from Sister Shazia Zeeb.
Yeah.
Explain one more time why UAE doesn't want Islam to be the dominant religion in Sudan. Are there any natural resources they want from Sudan?
So UAE, in my research, there was not much of a mention about natural resources from Sudan. Not that I came across. I'll have to look deeper and ask specific question. It's definitely, I mean, the third largest inland area in Africa, and I know Africa is a mineral rich society as well. I mean, mineral rich, country. But I have not come across. But that's a good question to see. But the main reason, which in this research I got, was the UAE leaders are worried about their throne. That was the main thing. And since the Arab Springs, they are worried that their people will, they will revolt against them, and they won't keep themselves in power. So that's kind of the main reason, which in this research. And so UAE wants to be very close to United States, kind of as a protection, as a protection. So that's one of the agenda. And to get that protection, they are selling out their Islam. So you would think that they are Muslims. They would want a Muslim countries around them, but no, to keep their throne, they are basically sellouts to the religion. And they not only in Sudan but everywhere, even whether it's in Yemen, whether it's in Palestine, anywhere, the UAE sells themselves to United States, saying that we are more anti-terrorist, we are more we are more against, or we are the ones who are more uh, uh, we are the ones who are against the Islamic terrorists more than US. So they are ones who are under quotations against Islamic terrorism more than US is against terrorism. So that's how they sell themselves. So we want to Islamic terrorism for us, it's Islamic terrorism, means that following the hukuk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for the secular, Islamic terrorism is one who is, too much following the Islamic law, and they don't want that, right? So they put under the terrorist label. And UAE is promoting itself as we are against Islamic fundamentalism or Islamic practices in the matters of governance and government policies and constitution and all of that. So that's how they are selling. That's kind of how I came out. My research, yeah. I'm not sure about the Red Sea. I know Red Sea, again, Red Sea has a very much important economic, you can see in the map, the trade route. And we can see the Sudan has this, it shares the border with long border actually with Red Sea. So that might affect them as well. So could be that too. But we'll look into it, yeah, about the minerals, yeah. So Shazri, was that clear or?
He's asking, what is the US interest in Sudan? Is it minerals?
US interest in Sudan is Zionism, because Zionism are dictating the policy of US. So in 1967 itself, Netanyahu, I'm not sure where, but he had it's out on the internet now. He had told that we need to take down 7 Islamic countries, or at least weaken them, because to have a place there. So the Zionists know that the Arab armies are anti-Zionists. So they know that's in the blood. They do not want Israel to settle down there in the Middle East, and Israel has this the plan of this great Israel and all of that. So they know that these countries, their armies and their this thing are all anti-Zionist, and if they once they get in power, they're going to get us down. So they are against the establishment of stable governments, prosperity, growth, weapon manufacturing, and all of that in these countries. So that is passed on to the United States, and because the Zionist lobby is very, very strong in the United States. And then Bill Clinton in 1997 passed severe sanctions on the government of Mohammed Bashir. So that is I think that's probably the biggest reason. Again, in my research, there was no mention about mining resources or anything like that specifically from Sudan. Yeah, but that's a good question. Could be. We'll have to look into that. Whether UAE and US and Israel have any plans of mining. Unlike Congo, it's all about the cobalt and the minings there. Here, I did not find that. Yeah, I'm not about oil. There's sort of oil though. There is oil in Sudan. That I know. So there's oil in Sudan. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
you mentioned 7 countries. Sister Farhana, can you list them?
Yes, Libya is one of them. Sudan, Iraq, Iran. Who else is there? This is Palestine. I'd have to. I'm not sure the Palestinians. Tunisia. All the places where they created the issues. Let me see the slide. I think. But I will pull that clip. It's out there. He kind of Iraq, I know definitely. Iraq, Iran are there. Syria, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Libya, Yemen, uh, Sudan, and who else? Afghanistan. I don't know whether that's included, but I will have to. Pull that. But he clearly told that these are the ones which I need to, which need to be very weakened or taken down, all the more better if the people kind of become pro US, pro Zionist, and like normalization. Saudi, no, Saudi already became, so there was no need for against Saudi. Yeah. And actually they have done in all these countries. And Iran was actually the last one on the list which they were trying to do, and that's why the Iran when the Iran conflict when Israel was bombing Iran, that's when this was out. That's it was circulating that Netanyahu wants Iran to um, be completely devastated. Yeah, and US put sanctions. So the US interest is because of science. That's the biggest interest, at least. Syria, they've done. Yemen, yes, 3. Libya, Tunisia. I know. I wonder about Tunisia as well. So all these North African countries, they were subhanallah, they were all Islamic, and the people are all very Islamic. Yeah, Islamic Muslim people there, Muslim majority countries. Yeah.
Here, Sister Farhana, you list the countries where they've actively, we can visibly see their role in it, US's role.
Yeah.
Even in the countries, Muslim countries, where you can't visibly see it, they're working, they're creating that disunity. Even in Pakistan, the provinces say, oh, we want to become independent. And it's just, that thing, it comes later to becoming visual. It's such a long-term process, isn't it? Like they're
Yeah.
working. Yeah.
Yeah, this has almost been going on for, I mean, I don't know, 30, 40 years. I mean, their plans are long. It's a
Mm.
long-term plan. It's just not a thing. And I mean, what kind of really bothered me was they want to change the mindset of the people from, freedom and liberty and dignity to economic growth. And that was kind of, oh, wow. They want to lure the people to economic growth.
Mm.
That's how UAE apparently compares itself with Tunisia. So in Tunisia, I think they have the government, but they don't have. UAE says, "Look at my progress in the economy, the Dubai, and all of that." So they want to lure the people into the world, the materials of the world, and change that mindset.
Mm.
So it's a very deep plan. I mean, that was most worrisome for me. It's a very deep plan.
Mm. and very easy to bring in as well.
Yeah, and yeah,
Because, the materialism and everything, if your consciousness level is at that stage, people want security, people want more money, people want easier lives. It's so easy to sell their souls really and go towards that, isn't it?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, Subhana, I mean, Subhanallah, Pakistan also so much. I was thinking so much similarity. I'm sure, the generals and the leaders have not researched on, the leaders of Pakistan. But yeah,
And we have to, as public, I suppose, we have to be very cautious about who we give power to. And when power gets taken away, we just cannot afford to let that happen. It's got to be some plan there. It's just happening far too many places, and good people are in jail and, or can't operate. It's very sad. But it's
yeah,
the younger generation too that, as you said, that's where we have to work and bring them in and Islamic systems in and bring new systems in which cannot be touched by them. Leaders don't have to be elected based on their conviction that Islam must prevail, and that's how we're going to be.
yeah. Yeah, I think two messages to the youth we have to give. One thing is that Islam offers the best, solutions, in every system, whether it's education, governance, family life, justice, human rights, all of that. That's one message we have to give the youth. The second thing is we have to expose the youth that there's lots going on underneath, by these, especially the Zionists and the imperial state United States. So they should know what's happening under the cover, because on the top they're coming like, oh, democracy, human rights. We got to expose that, and Gaza did expose quite a bit.
Mm.
But every youth must know this, like, even in the sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, subhanallah. And one interesting thing they were mentioning was that, so the problem of the United States in having a democracy in Sudan is that the Sudanese people are still, very Islamic, and that is the silver lining, if you want to say. And hopefully it becomes more Islamic as time passes by. Um, so they are scared that if they run the government, if they do elections there, Sudanese people will bring Islamic government, and they'll bring, riba-free financial system. So when the Bashir was there was this riba free financial system, and but I think Burhan came, I think they started the interest banks in Sudan. Um, so yeah, that's just a tidbit. But the people, they're still scared that if they run elections, they will still go for a Islamic, government. Same thing in Algeria, right? When French went off, they, the initially when the people voted, they voted for more fundamentalist, like a Islamic um, government. Let's say in Egypt too, when after the Arab Springs, when they voted, they, people still are, Alhamdulillah, it's a silver lining that they want Islamic governments, they want Islamic ways to, run by Islamic. And that is why the US has to put all this effort and bring the leftists, or the, what to say, secular leaders, and support them, and bring in the army generals, and, do coups and all of that. Um, and then in the meantime, they are trying to change the mindset of the newer generation to more materialistic, and that's the battle which we have to fight. So
Mm.
if we can keep our youth grounded in Islam, I think we could. Yeah.
Yeah, Sister Shama is expressing some
Please,
emotion.
please go ahead. This is an open discussion, please share your thoughts, anything. Don't listen.
Yeah, she's saying that youth is away from Islam. They don't even believe in it. So what should we do?
Yeah,
It's quite a parent role, don't you think, Sister Farhana?
yeah,
It's a parent role. We failed as parents for them
yeah,
to not believe in Islam. There's something being quite out about our teaching. And we're
yeah.
also learning, we're also learning. So I think there's never a time not to start, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, subhanallah. I mean, see, I mean, the US imperialism and its, what it is doing, I mean, what is the agenda inside, I am learning now. Can you imagine? We're not aware of these. These were never conversations at home or anywhere.
Mm. Mm.
And in fact, like I remember, like, after completing med school in India, United States was like, I mean, it was on a very high pedestal in my mind,
Yeah.
human rights, democracy, progress, for women, uh, uh, I mean, you just saw the shiny, I mean, outer packaging, and which is beautiful.
Mm. Well, our
But the
parents wanted us
fact,
here, didn't they? Our
yeah,
parents thought it was great, and we learned that from them too, that this is the right place, this is the right education, this is the right values, and we passed it on.
yeah, yeah. And and that, and then the terrorists, when 9/11 happened, I mean, we, as Muslims question the terrorism, and why are they, I mean, the terrorism are, of course, they kill the civilians, which is wrong in Islam as well. But we felt ashamed of being Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
That's the propaganda which they do, and the underlying story is all hidden. I mean, the oppression and all of that, right? But Gaza exposed it. I mean, big time, big time. Yeah. So I think every youth, as I said, my mission is to, make, the, inshallah, we're going to start some youth holocaust, but make every kid know two things. One, Islam is the best practices for anything, for a system, or individual, for family, for running nations, governance. I mean, and you check it out. I mean, if you have faults, look at Islamic, learn Islamic system and bring out the faults, just challenge the youth to do that. The second thing is, see the filth, what's going on in the other countries, the oppression, the famine, the difficulty. Just let's expose those to the youth. They will put two and two together.
Mm. So more discussion at the dining table.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, please reach out. And anybody would like, you can put it in the chat or you can ask Sister Farhana. Survey forms, please fill them up for us. The survey form is there, yes? How many people filled in the survey form? Please kindly do that. It helps us to, give you the talks that you want to learn more about. So really appreciate it if you fill in the survey form. Should I put the link again or you got it?
Yeah. So interesting thing. So the Western leaders, they think Islam, following Islamic principles and laws and rules, is regression,
Mhm.
is backwardness. That's what is there in their mind, and I'm sure they believe it too.
Mhm.
Um, and so apparently one of the leaders, I'm not sure whether British prime minister, but when the after Arab Springs, when the elections happened, and I think in Egypt they kind of voted for pro-Islamic government. He said that, we were surprised to know that people are still people are opting towards for regression, and they think they are progressing with building and these materials and stuff. So that is the mindset.
Mm.
Yeah.
Tricky one.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah, Sister Farida. Can I ask a question, please?
Go ahead,
Please.
Actually, I most of the time I discuss with the children who study in university, 20 plus. They are like age there, and they know there is like injustice happening. Even I know the Hindu families. My daughter has friends from Christian different diverse races, and they understand the injustice is happening, and they know there is some deep state is working deep deep state or establishment, international establishment is controlling whole world, but they are not willing to play their role. They are totally like disappointed, the young generation, and they say we can't do anything. They control everything. They control resources, everything, like money, resources, everything. So they are not willing to take a step. That is, I felt like in the young generation, this is the thing they are facing now. They are disappointed. They just want to like live a life like their own personal life. They want to do something for themselves. They support Gaza, even like different races, Christian, Jews, Hindus, but they are not like willing to take a step to us. So what should I do as a believer and as a
Yes, Sister Farhana, you want to take that?
Well, I think it's basically raising the awareness where they are, isn't it? So if they don't even see themselves, most of the population is so submerged in their own issues, aren't they? If the child is struggling just to get approval in the class as a youngster, his emotional problems, they haven't even identified themselves. So it's very natural for them to, they first need to resolve their own issues, which is what our platform is about. Learn about control, learn about your parts, learn about worship. We jump to wanting them to do something for the community. It's not possible. You just got to take that journey. They have to find the connection with Allah Ta'ala first, actually see what the greatest power they have on their side. And nothing can really stop them if that they believe in that power. And we haven't got them to that stage. The iman is weak. So of course they're not going to go and work and do community work or take steps. We have to go lower. And that's the platform we're providing for everyone to take that step-by-step approach. You can't rush to the end and say, okay, do this now. Does that make sense? Does it make it a bit clearer?
yes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a long term
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah, it is, and every effort, Allah Ta'ala then, supports us when we do it.
Yeah.
Especially the young people. Allah Ta'ala helps a lot. So I think just do that little bit. And you're doing that, Sister Shama. You're connecting with them. It is necessary to connect with them first. They need to trust you. You're saying we need to set our examples ourselves first of who we are. We need to be doing it for them to say, okay, I should be doing something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, subhanallah, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he also, 13 years in Makkah, they were prepared. Subhanallah. Alhamdulillah.
I have another question, Sister Farhana.
Go ahead.
Actually, I was not present in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, is there any US UAE nexus in Sudan? They are pursuing their interests. They're aligning each other, or
Yeah. Yes, UAE and US are aligned, and UAE is helping the Hemites, the army, the general. Basically, two generals are kind of fighting against each other. One is Hemiti and one is Burhan. So the Hemiti was very pro-secular, pro-Zionist, pro-US. So UAE is helping them with weapons, training, and making the military more and more stronger. And they have the blessing of US. They have the blessing of US. And though Hemeti has, it's himself has done a lot of human rights violations and some massacres in the Sudan, US is quiet about them, and it's, giving a blind eye to this oppression. Yes, so there's blessing. UAE has a blessing of US in this. They're all a team. Yeah, I'm sure in their discussions, foreign policy discussions, and with the leaders of Sudan. I mean, with Hemeti and the secular leaders, US and UAE is also in the same team. Yeah. Yeah.
But inshallah, Allah's word will prevail, inshallah, at the end. inshallah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. But what is nice about this was, the people they still want Islamic, government. They want Islamic, interest-free banks, riba-free banks, and yeah, subhanallah. And the US and the UAE, they want to change it. So it's literally a battle of Islam. It's a battle fighting for Islam. The people there, and they're going through so much, through this famine and all of this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him the steadfastness, and may the may Allah give the support of us people, and of the Muslim governments who are on the right path, inshallah. Ameen.
Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair.
Any other questions? Anything anybody wants to share? Some good ideas? As you all know, we are starting our cultural shift, a return to fitra program, and that in itself impacts on what Sister Farhana discovered. We want to change this cultural viewpoint on just staying within your homes and looking after yourself. It's just going to hit us. You can see it in the UK, you can see it in the US. It's not even they're hitting the Muslim countries. Their own countries are dividing now. They're getting extreme, and the extremism shows more on us as Muslims. It targets us.
And sadly, the majority of the Muslim countries are aligning with US and Zionism.
Yep.
That is the main thing.
Yep.
They are supporting each other for a dual system.
Yep.
So what you see, like what will happen, like the people who want Islamic way of life or Islamic system, they are not in power. Even in one country, like look, if we see Yemen, there is a civil war. There is people who are fighting for like the people. Like there is a group who's Iran supports, and they fight, and they and they give a tough time to Israel and Red Sea as well, and their group name is, I think, Houthis. Houthis are there.
Mhm.
They are mostly from
Yeah.
Shias, and they are fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is so much, like uh, there is no food, there is no hospital, even they don't have water to drink. And I was reading a report, and they were like predicting we are losing the new young generation in Yemen because they can't survive without medicine, without food. There's so much, like, shortage of everything they are facing.
Inshallah, I should
I
do
think
one or
it's
two as well.
yeah, it's like in the situation in Sudan, same is like in Yemen.
Same.
And Saudi Arabia did most of the devil's work over there.
Yes.
Even Saudi Arabia used chemical weapons against Yemeni people, our brothers and sisters. And so there is too much devil's work is happening, but inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that my word will prevail, inshallah. But we need a lot of work to do in this regard, inshallah.
Sure. We are on Allah's team. We are on Allah's, not Allah doesn't need anyone, but we are on, the team of Islam. Sure. May Allah accept us as warriors in that team.
Amen.
I think, as you have said, Sister Farhana, the systems need to be replaced. They won't change with these people. The people who are in power are not going to change. That's very obvious. Whether it's a Muslim country or a non-Muslim country, they are not going to change. New people have to rise to power. And
Yes.
that's what we as a team have to ensure. You know, we at VOTP and FIT are trying to make those new people. So, you know, I would suggest that you get more and more people on courses, more and more join our, you know, the cultural shift team, give emphasis to your progressing on the courses yourself, because you're the leaders. You are the leaders. You as a parent will raise the right kids. Just get through that course, you know, inshallah, together we will bring change. Inshallah.
Okay, then I will go ahead and close. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Jazakallah khair, Sister Farhana. It was such an amazing session. Alhamdulillah.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.